That's a late great Johnny Cash with some good advice. Get rhythm when you get the blues. So we're trying to get rhythm here at Seaview Crab Company as the fall, as we're right in the heart of good seafood production season across the board. And so let's get right to the fish notes with this week's need to know. Goals for the week. Service goals this week. Engage customers with questions about their cooking styles for the seafood they're buying. It gives the floor for them to talk and you'll learn something. Again, that's one of these things. It's like, especially if you're a point guard and you get talking and talking and talking, ask good questions. People love to talk and give their opinion. So give it to them. Let them do it. It'll save your energy and it'll make their day. Team effectiveness. Okay, so this week's goals want to keep forwards and forwards assistant moving to push our daily preparedness. Our forwards are the diesel engines of production capacity, and they always need to know their 1, 2, 3s, prepping, cleaning, stocking, resetting. So they should always have a good forward always needs a game plan in their head, like I'm going to do this, then this, then this. And if there's time, I'm going to do this. But it's not like there's no stalling between what's next. The forward always knows what's next and what's after next. All right, weekend notes, holiday events, Halloween, obviously, oyster selling. We're probably going to be short on oysters. The tide was a bad tide this week, so there's going to be a lot of people looking for oysters in town, so hopefully we're going to sell out. But keep your oyster game on you. Make sure we put oysters in the right spot to sell them. Excuse me. We're going to have mild, beautiful, sunny weather this week. On our email, we highlighted NC Flounder, Wanchese NC Tuna, Seaview Crab Company Stump Sound Cultivated 100 counts. Price changes. Oyster prices are updated. Not trying anything else I changed this week. Specials still $11 pound lobsters, $39 half mixed bushels, 5 pounds off jumbo heads and tails, $1 off per pound, and then most importantly, yellowfin tuna steaks are $12 a pound. Let customers know our tuna comes from the docks at Wanchese, the biggest offshore port in North Carolina. They do a bunch of seafood comes in there, and they're starting to get they got a bunch of tunas up there this week, and so price is down. We did our part to move as much as we could, so let people know that. That's why we have that special going on. Okay, crustacean notes. More crabs afternoon. Sam's crabbing now, and poached be crabbing Sunday. Keep Sam in the loop. If you're running low on crabs, this really goes for Zach and Sean. Make sure you let him know, so he's in the loop about what's going on. If you're heavy or low, it's good to communicate. Lobster is nothing new on the lobster special note. Okay, shellfish notes. Clams, more clams tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly how much we're getting. We'll know that later today. Stump Sound cultured salmon Nathan harvested yesterday, and we, as I told you last week, got a new lower price. Try to be a little more competitive with our bushel oysters, but they're big, beautiful. They're a little lower salinity, and that goes for all of our local oysters. I mean, most of the time, 90% of the time, they're really salty, but all this rain has made it so they are a little lower salinity. Really the lowest that you'll ever see them at is what they're at now, but they're fat, buddy, and they're nice. And there's approximately, I think we have about after what's been going up the road and went out to wholesale, we have about 1,400 to sell. So make sure we're all aware of that. Live mussels, same thing. We aim to sell it on Sunday. Suggest mussels with oysters is a great little, add on to what they got going on. So make sure they got, hey, live mussels, add a half a pound for $2 or a pound for, $4. It's a good little way to add some shellfish to the mixed. Pamlico Sounds, not sure what we're going to have coming in tomorrow. See Kenny, get retails to text Kenny to know what he's going to have. Same way, select singles and local clusters. We are going to have more clusters than we did last week and less singles because of the tides. Again, tides were high in the midday, and it's hard for guys to actually get to the best oysters, and that's why we're going to see more clusters than singles this week. Maryland's, we have a decent amount in the house, and I know we have some more coming in tomorrow. So let people know that. If we run out of locals, we hopefully will still have Maryland's to end the weekend with. Shrimp notes, bait shrimp CB. Denny's bringing 200 pounds of bait today. Some's going to be frozen. I put Harvey's coming this afternoon, but that's not really true. I'm in conversation with him now. I know he does have some jumbos. I've got some jumbos in. I'm waiting to hear about what kind of heads on and medium to large tails he's going to have. So I'll keep Sean, Zach, and Craig in the loop for that, so we know exactly when they're coming in and where they're going. Moving on to fish. Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about fish this week, just to kind of expand out on some things I've been thinking about and just to put in everyone's. This goes for forwards, point guards, people that have been working with us for a long time, and people that are new. There's four ways I like to think about talking about fish. And the first, and I would argue, is the most important, but it's not for everybody. But for me, it's the story of where, how, and who caught the fish. And you may not know who caught it. You may not even know how it was caught. But to know, and you're like, hey, where did this come from? Ask your people, look at fish notes. But that giving that connection to the story of where these things come from helps legitimize our counter and our reputation, but it also makes the food more interesting. I mean, nobody knows where the damn steak comes from at Walmart, but every single thing that we have in our market has a story. It has a human behind, a man or a woman behind it that actually brought it, and they have it adds an element of storytelling to our counter that makes it a more interesting place to be and shop. So let people know that. Remember that when you're talking about our seafood. The other way I talk about it is the possible ways of cooking. So, standard grill. Can you grill it? Can you fry it? Can you saute it? Can you smoke it? Can you bake it? Can you broil it? And so usually you can do damn near anything with any bit of seafood, but it's good to know those terms and know what the best way to cook something is. And especially if it's an undervalued fish like bluefish, I would say, "Oh, you can't eat that; it's gamey." It's like, well, if you've ever had smoked, you would never say that. Or grilled, if you know how to grill it right. Anyway, and the next thing is flavor profile. So real easy here. You have a mild fish, you got a medium fish, you got a full flavored fish. Not fishy. Full is not fishy. Full just means it's a lot of flavor. Fishiness sometimes can be flavor. So can a unique buttery. It's just full means you're not gonna taste plain when you eat it. But remember that flavor profile. And then texture profile, is it delicate? Is it medium? Is it firm? So four ways, and there's plenty of other ones. Just one way I conceptualize is the story of where it came from, who caught it, the possible ways you can cook it, the flavor profile, and the texture profile. And if you're not sure, ask those questions to your teammates around you and say, well, what would you say about it? Would you say it's, what kind of flavor, what kind of texture? Hey, how does this caught? How does this get here? Ask questions. I am a big, you got to have some curiosity to get better at knowing seafood. It can't be told to you. It has to come from within. And so the more you ask questions, the better. And there's plenty of people in our organization can answer them. We don't always have the same answers for everything. That's the thing about seafood. It's never, oh, it's got to be this way, got to be that. So it comes to the multiplicity of opinions. All right, moving on to company notes. Got a bunch here. All right, most importantly, we have a gap in next week's schedule. There are a good amount of people who cannot work on Saturday, and most other people are working. So our depth is weak. And next week I have a few people that are out. That are not able to work that usually do work. So I have a 1 to close shift for a forward or point going on Saturday. So if you can work, step up and get with Sean, because he's the one that's got to fill the schedule. We need to be able to cover shifts so that people can be free to take off without stalling the schedule. It's a thing that's always tough, but remember, and this is as we move forward and hire new people, that's the big thing I'm thinking about. Seafood is sold on the weekends. It's sold on Monday through Wednesday, but Thursday through Sunday are the most important shifts of the cycle. So, we've got to step up so we can be deep. And listen, believe me, I'm stressing, whether you guys see it or not, we're going to have way less shifts when December rolls around. So keep that in mind when you're trying to say whether you want to work or not. We're in the process of syncing our buying, selling, marketing weekly cycle together so that we can move a synchronized unit. This is a major thing for me. A lot of things run through too small of a funnel, and I want to get our whole team communicating in a way that works for the bigger picture. We're a bigger company now with a lot of moving parts. Important than ever to communicate according to a plan. So I've set out a 7-day schedule for Seaview Crab Company. Get with your managers about that. We're working through a draft right now. It has all the important moving parts, but like anything else in the company, it's a working draft, so it's built to revise, evolve, and change for the better. But it is a good starting point. It's the things that need to happen to make sure everything works like it should. So anyway, get with Sean, Kenny, Zach, Nathan, Joe, Sam, Craig, Kenny. I think I got everybody. They should have it, and it's on Dropbox. Last thing I want to talk about is triangulation. And it's three-dimensional. I call it three-dimensional communication. But Nathan, Sam, and I grew this company with the aid of triangulation. It's basically three opinions help break a tie. It helps make ideas three-dimensional. It makes use of, it helps clear blind spots and build strong teams and ideas. You know, if you have one person making decisions on the island, if they're really good, it's great, but they don't see the big picture. Two people can either really agree with each other or really disagree with each other. But when you have three, it adds a little bit of a communication teamwork aspect to things, and it makes people think together and challenge each other. And so when you're thinking about the best way to do something or what you should do, triangulate. Triangulate and see where our gaps in understanding are, and it will help build us into a better team. That's Fish Knows for this week, y'all. A lot going on. Try to put some good stuff in there. Remember the goals for the week, and to triangulate and to ask questions of our customers about how they cook things and how to talk about fish and seafood. Remember the story and the different ways that you can talk about a fish or a seafood. It'll help us become better fishmongers and better communicators. I'm going to leave you all with a quote and a little bit more Johnny Cash. I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later.
A little shoe shine boy, he never gets low down, but he's got the dirtiest job in town.